Sorry, I had to restart the video all over again. My lips have been tapped and peeling. I don't know why. I guess it got warm and then it's getting cold again. So I'm gonna try to put this on a tripod. See if I can uh, move it around a little bit to kind of show the work that I'm doing. So right now, this is how far I've gotten with the tiling. So on the wall will be these subway tiles, and then on the floor I'm going to do some, they're like octagon shaped tiles, and they look like marble. So I've started on that side, if you can see, and I'm going, like I said, I'm going to try to attempt, let me put this down a little bit to show, let's see, that's not working. See if I put it down some more. Let that show. Alright. I think that might work a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna show myself in action a little bit here, because I want people to actually see me doing the work. I don't want to just talk about it, and sometimes I want people to know that you can do whatever you put your mind to. So what I did was I went online, learned a lot of different techniques through YouTube, lots and lots of YouTube videos to put up the drywall, to even build this frame that I built for the shower and to put down the shower bed. I learned, from a lot of different YouTube videos in order for me to be able to do it. But with anything, the more you do, the better you become at it. So I'm right now I'm installing the tile. So I'm gonna kind of just show you, so like I said, there's subway tiles. I started on this one, and I just said, well, let me just stop for a minute so that I can show people basically me actually doing the work. So it may be quiet for a little bit while I work here. And it's cold. There's a low heater. I actually have two heaters here, because, like I said, I turned off the furnace because for one thing, it doesn't work that great because it was only the emergency heater. I had gotten a guy that came in here to clean out the ducts and everything, and to see if they can get it working. And so they basically, what they found is that in order for me to use the furnace, it's going to cost me between $10,000 to $12,000, and right now that's not money that I have laying around somewhere that I can just go and purchase a new furnace. And the house itself is probably about 600 square feet. So I think that I can. There's a unit that I saw at Lowe's where I can get that covers 1,000 square feet. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get two of those units. Each of them are like $1,800. So I'll get those once I'm done. But right now, all my money is focusing on, purchasing the equipment that I need to do the work that I'm doing. So I went ahead and I turned off the heat because the heating bill has gone from $150, which is electric. So the furnace is basically electric. So it's gone from $150 to $600 a lot. February 1st, I believe was or 5th, when I paid the bill, it was $664. And that is a lot of money, so I decided, I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to use these little portable heaters. Fortunately for me, it's been a little bit warmer. Can't see my face, I'm talking. I'm bundled up here because I'm trying to stay warm. So I've got this little bucket. I was just on my hands and knees earlier, but I have this little bucket that I sit on. I was on my hands and knees because I don't want to bend over. I had injured my back earlier when I first started doing this work. I injured my back, and so I don't like the bend over. It's doing much better. My back has been much better, but I try not to do too much strenuous stuff on my back. But like I was saying with the heat, the heating bill went up to $664, and I mean that's a lot, you know. So I decided to turn it off. It's been a little bit warmer the last couple of weeks, so that's been great. But today, this weekend, it's dropped. The temperature dropped again. I guess February, you can expect it to drop. So I turned off the heat, but it's cold. It's really, really cold. So I decided to just bundle up to stay warm. And also, when you're actively working, you also stay a little bit warmer that way too. So I've been keeping myself warm and trying to get this done. So I've got these two trot things that I use. Get the tile on, the adhesive. It's pretty good. All of what I got is basically from Lowe's, and I think on another video that I did, I talked about budgeting. You know, it's important when you're going through this and trying to get your life back in order to follow a strict budget, because otherwise you can just spend and spend and spend, and you won't see any progress. So I always try to look at the Lowe's always have like a things that are on sale. I forget what it's called. You know, when they have the sale ad, and I always look on those bins that have things that are, you know, they've dropped the prices or whatever. So I got these tiles. They were 15 cents, or they are 15 cents per tile. Each of the tiles are 15 cents, but I think, you know, that's the original price, because I went back to where they are and I saw that they are actually 15 cents. So I decided to use, you know, do the subway tiles on the wall. And like I said, I've got these octagon shaped tiles. I'll show you. Once I put this roll in, I'll get one of those tiles to show you the ones that's going to go on the shower floor. So, but again, budgeting is good. You know, you have to budget. You gotta budget your time. You gotta budget your finances if you want to get things done. For me, all I do nowadays is just, you know, I have a full-time job, which I actually jokingly call it my side hustle, but it's actually my full-time job that I work here in Maysville, the small town that I live in. You know, it's not too much as far as, you know, work. You can, you know, I was working at the Bank of Maysville because I had banking experience, but it was a very glamorous job, but the pay was not that great. But, and so I decided to work at Mitsubishi, which is a manufacturing, you know, they manufacture electronics, car stereo, the parts that goes into the car stereos and stuff like that. And they assemble them and ship them out to the different factories. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's funny because the other day I was having a conversation with one of my very close friends, and she said to me, she said, there's no way that I, will have a degree like you have and go to work in a factory. But the thing about it is, you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to, in order for me to get a job paying the type of money that I know I deserve, I have to travel about an hour and a half to an hour to, like hour 45 minutes out into Cincinnati, to get a pretty decent job. And, it can be expensive on the vehicle, because that's what I did when I first moved here. I did work in Cincinnati at Citibank in their call center out there it was actually in Florence, Kentucky. I worked there for about a year, but it was very tough. But I was working second shift and traveling an hour and 20 minutes back and forth every day. And one night on my way home, my tires fell out. I was driving my ex-husband's Tahoe at the time, and the back tire exploded. And it was like about 1:30 in the morning out in what they call Bracken County, which is like in the country. I couldn't even get satellite. I couldn't get my phone. I couldn't even get service on my phone to call, my husband at the time. But luckily for me, when the tire busted, I just pulled over to the side and I just said, I'm not gonna panic. I'm not gonna worry. I said, Lord, I'm here. I hope I put my flashers on, the blinkers. I said, I'm pretty sure somebody will see me and call the police. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Somebody saw me and they called the police, and the police came. And when the guy came, he said, I'm not even going to ask you what happened because I can see. He said, but I'll give you my phone and you can call somebody. He said, are you able to call somebody? Well, he knew, because he knew that a lot of people have service, because even him, he said, even I have, run into problems with service in this area. So he handed me his phone, and I was able to call my ex-husband, and he was able to get a tow truck. At the time, he wasn't working with the tow truck company, but he had been working with the tow truck company, and he knew the guy who owned the tow truck company. And the guy just basically told her, you know where the keys are, go and get the tow truck. And he went, got the tow truck, and he came to get me. But that was an experience, that was scary. But, I wasn't afraid at the beginning, because when it happened that day, I wasn't afraid, because I figured, it's not going to do me any good to sit there and just be afraid. But I say it was scary because anything could have happened, But I thank God nothing did. And I think because I put myself in that place, I said to myself, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to sit here and hopefully somebody will see me and call the police. And they did. So, but I didn't want to go through that kind of situation anymore. So then I had gotten a job here working for another bank here, well, a bank, but I had to start from scratch. I had to start being a bank teller, when I had gone as far as being an assistant branch manager. They didn't care about my credentials. They just, I was fresh off the street, and they said everybody who starts here starts out as a talent. So I said, well, I want the job. What's the option? I could keep looking and find something else outside of here and travel again, or I can just take the job and do the best that I can. And also I said to myself, I want to work, for myself. And so I knew that I was going to start working for myself. I had always been an entrepreneur, and I sold. I made clothes for people over the years, but I started a magazine. I wrote a book. Excuse me. I've done a lot of different things, but I had never done a restaurant. But I always wanted to open up a restaurant and cook. And I had spoken to my ex-husband about it. I was like, what, I've always had an opportunity. I always wanted to do a restaurant. I know that I want to do something. And I actually told him, I remember one day I was talking to he and his mother, and I had said that I want to do like a dinner theater. That was the initial thing, because the population here in this town is, and I'm not exaggerating, I think the average age is 45 in this town. That's how, it's older people. It's a lot of older people here. So entertainment, I felt, something like a dinner theater would have been a pretty good idea. So I started looking into that, investigating it. I had already started a business plan with, that, because when I was in Minnesota, I was trying to do something like that. There was a church in Minneapolis, a Lutheran church, that had been losing a lot of its customers, and people in the Liberian community used to use the church a lot. So I thought about the possibility of doing a restaurant, dinner theater there. So I had I contacted the pastor, and the pastor told me, actually the guy who was in charge of managing that whole situation was a Liberian guy. I contacted him, I told him my plan and everything, and we were working through it. They said, oh yeah, that's a good idea, and they wanted to work with me on it. But then nothing happened. Nobody followed up with me. They told me to bring, my proposal. I took the proposal to them, and they said, oh, this other guy's going to look at it. And then next thing you know, the guy said, oh, well, we're getting somebody else in here, to look at, the situation, and nothing happened. So I ended up moving. I ended up meeting my ex-husband and moving out of Minneapolis. So, but the funny thing is, after I moved here, 6 months after I moved here, this pastor contacted me, and he said, oh, you know what, I was going through the records, the church records, and I saw, this proposal, and it's such a great idea. Whatever happened? Why aren't we doing it with you? I said, well, I was waiting for someone to call me back. And he said, well, I'm calling you back now. What can we do? And I said, well, it's too late now, because I've moved out of Minneapolis. I now live in Kentucky. And he said, well, there's no way thinking about coming back. I said, not right now. I said, things have changed. I've gotten married, and my husband and I live here, and, and I'm going to try to see if I can do something here. So anyway, that was the story with that. So I started working on getting information, reading, working on the business proposal to make it make sense for this area. And then COVID happened in 2020, and I'll talk more about, I think at a different time I'm going to sit and talk about the restaurant, how we actually, got into the restaurant, and how things kind of unfolded and everything. But right now, I'm just going to give you a basic idea of how we ended up where we were with the restaurant. So yeah, we started the restaurant, and like I said, things didn't go. Things went okay for a little bit, and then they fell apart. And because we were also having marital issues, all of that with the fact that this was a new venture, things fell apart. And like I said earlier, I was awarded a restaurant, and this is where I am right now. But I've always been someone who have been, I believe I'm innovative. I think a lot. And there's a lot of things that I want to accomplish in this life. It's taken me a very, very long time to reach my goals, because I think that when you grow up without your parents, I think a lot of times we end up spending the bulk of our lives trying to find love, people to love us. And for me, I think the earlier parts of my life, I spent a lot of it trying to find love. But I have come to realize that the love that I was looking for is right here within myself. Nobody outside of you can love you like the way you need to be loved. And only when you find that love within yourself will you be able to even love other people. And I've known that for a long time, but I've always had a desire to be married. I wanted to be married. I just love the idea. I guess I watch a lot of movies, romantic love stories or whatever, but I've always had this romantic idea of love, wanting to share my life with someone else. I've been in and out of a lot of relationships. Every time I meet a guy and he, in my mind, is the perfect image of what I think a husband should be, I end up running into someone who ends up cheating on me. So when I met my husband, I thought that it was going to be a different situation. We talked about it, and because we were much older, he was 44, and I was 40. No, he was 46, and I was 48, because I'm 2 years older than he is. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this will work, because we're older, and, even he said, I don't play the games that I played when I was a kid, blah, 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 and these other things. So I trusted that. And I also knew that we could work together. I felt that we could work together no matter what, because when you really care about each other, you can overcome the challenges. You have challenges, even when you both come from different backgrounds. If you really care about each other, you can work out your differences. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. And I'm not blaming him. A lot of times I tell my story. It's not about blaming someone else. It's just explaining what happened. We both had different ideas of what things are supposed to be. So, he did a lot of things, yeah, but I'm pretty sure there were things that I did. For one thing, I think I've come to the realization that I always try to save other people, make people, try to get people to see, that they can do and be better. And this is who I've always been, and I've put myself in a lot of different situations because I think I try to fix other people. And when I say that, people get, offended. I'm not fixing to say, well, I'm trying to fix you because, I'm better than you. But if you're someone who, like the situation with my ex-husband, we had a lot of different conversations, and even with some of the times when we would sit down and talk about things because we say we wanted to make our marriage work, you know, he would tell me little bits and pieces about his previous relationship, and that was one thing he wouldn't want to talk about. He's like, no, I don't want to talk about my past. I don't want to talk about my past. But the little bit that he did tell me, you know, I felt like he kept repeating the same old patterns over and over. And if he didn't deal with it, he will continue to have those issues. And that's why one of the things that I thought was starting to work on, you know, to bring it to the surface, talk about it, you know, but he felt that I was criticizing him, you know, by bringing up things that I saw could be better. But anyway, like I said, I'm not blaming him. I'm explaining the situation. So, unfortunately, we could not make it work, and he's moved on. I moved on. We got the divorce. I think he may be married or something because I know he's engaged. He got engaged right after I moved out of the house in October. In a few weeks after that, it probably was in November or maybe late October, he moved another woman into the house and they got engaged. I think it was Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. So he's moved on, basically is what I'm saying, with his life. And he's happy because he used to say to me that he just wanted to be happy. He just wants to be happy. So I wish him the best. And I'm moving on with my life. I'm not ready to get involved with anybody. I was approached by a fellow that I work with, but I'm not, you know, in that space to get involved with anyone. So, not yet. I don't want to repeat the same patterns that I, you know, did before. And besides that, like I said, all my time right now, I'm dedicating towards renovating this place. I'm doing the work myself, and I don't have time to date and get to know anybody or whatever. You know, I know the time will come for that because no matter how old you are, and this is something I wanted to talk about. I thought about this the other day. That especially I'm from Africa, Liberia, West Africa. When I was, you know, in my younger days, they used to say, oh, once a woman reaches 30, she's off the calendar, and no man is going to want her, especially if she's been married before and she has children and blah, blah, blah. You know, all kinds of stuff they would say. All lies. Lies. Don't ever let anybody tell you that crap. I don't care how old you are, there's somebody out there for you. Believe me. You don't have to put yourself through that. You know, there's always somebody out there for you. Because just like you're this age, there are men your age. Or even in the situation of a woman, there are of a man, there are women out there your age. There are people going through what you're going through. And there's someone looking to find someone like you. So never buy into that you falling off the calendar and this, that, and the other stuff. It's nonsense. You know, if you believe it, then it will become true for you. But never settle for that. Never allow yourself to believe that stuff. It's nonsense. Because I've been approached since I've been divorced, you know, guys are approaching me, you know, and I just not in the, like I said, guys have been approaching me, and now it's like once they knew that I was single, boom, they like ran, you know, because people know who you are. If people know who you are, and you know, there's always someone out there, you know, even if it's not people in your community or whatever, there's someone out there. Now, I will say this: it's difficult because I have, right when my ex-husband filed for the divorce, I said to myself, okay, let me see. I saw this thing, they have this free Facebook ad. Let me see what's out there. What are people in my age group, you know, what's out there? Let me just, maybe I can just meet a friend or something online, because I don't go out to meet people. And, you know, I met him online, and so I figured, you know, online probably a good place to meet people or whatever. I'm telling you, the dating apps, I think is where a lot of some of the worst people on this planet, for whatever reason, they use those dating apps to exploit women. Because I'm not going to talk about the men, and because I don't know much about the, you know, women. I'm interested in men, so I know about how the men behave, but I don't know how the women behave, and I don't know what it's like for men when they're out there. The only thing that my ex-husband used to say is that he ran into a lot of people where, you know, he will reach out to people, but they won't reach back to him or something like that, and whatever. But that's basically all I know about that. But as far as the men, sometimes you would think that once a man reaches a certain age that he will mature and behave differently. Oh my goodness. I shut that thing down so quickly. Actually, it's still up, but I just stopped. You know, I think I must have gone. I went through it, communicated with maybe about 10 guys. I mean, just on the app. One guy, I had contacted one guy, but all of them, you know, it's like, well, not all of them, most of them, as soon as we started communicating, it's like, oh, they'll give you their number for you to contact them. And a couple of guys got offended when I said to them, you know, I'd rather us communicate on here for a little bit before exchanging phone numbers. And I mean, a couple of the guys got extremely offended. This guy even said, why? Is it because I'm a black guy now that I've got to be a criminal? And I was like, oh my goodness, what in heaven's name? Like, you know, and this other guy was like, F you did anyway. I was like, what? So, needless to say, I'm not going the way of the dating app again. I'm just not. I'm not going to use it. I know I did it with my ex-husband, and I said, you know, even though the app that we used back then was blackpeoplemeet.com. I don't even know if that app even exists anymore. But I used to go on there to read some of the comments from the women, and I can tell you for a fact that the comments weren't good. I mean, women were like, I mean, it was just horrible. They were like, these men out here are, you know, something else. It's like, but I said to myself at the time, I know that there has to be somebody out there for me. I know just the same way that I am single and I believe, you know, myself to be a good person, there has to be a good person. So when I met my ex-husband, I thought, okay, You know, he's a good person. And I'm not going to lie, he is a good person. We were together for 7 years. He's a good person. He's a very giving person. He's a provider. He'll take care of the home, pay the bills, or whatever that the case may be. But he has his ways. And for me, one of the things I told him from the get-go is cheating is a deal breaker for me. And that's what I told him. You can give me all the gifts in the world, but if you cheat on me, if we can't communicate with each other, then we can't be together. And that's what ended up happening with us. You know, the communication was not that great, and he cheated several times during the relationship. So, but that's him. That's his thing. But I just don't want to be in a relationship with someone cheating. I know I had a, friend of mine saying, oh, well, if that's all he did and this and that. No, for me, it's a deal breaker. I want to be with someone who I can trust, who will be dedicated and committed to the relationship. And that's basically what I want. And I refuse to settle for anything other than that. If you feel like that's what you want and it works for you, that you can deal with a man who's cheating on you, more power to you. But for me, this is what I want out of a marriage, and I'm not going to settle for anything other than that. I have learned to be by myself. I can be by myself and enjoy being by myself. As a matter of fact, before I met my husband, I used to go on dates by myself. I was at a place where I said to myself, you know what, I want to get married, but I got to be that person that I'm asking for. And I was at a place of peace, I was at a place of peace, and I used to go out to the movies by myself, go out to dinner by myself. So I always felt that if and when I find someone else, it will be like icing on the cake. And so that's what I thought I have found with my ex-husband. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. He had a different view of me. He saw me something other than, what I saw myself. And his perspective of the whole situation would be different. I'm telling my side of the story. This is my side of the story. And I'm sure he has his side of the story. He always say, you did this, you did that, but he would never ever tell me what exactly it was that I did. Like, what did I do to cause you to do the things that you're doing? What did I do? And he said, oh, you know what you did. And I'm like, if I knew what I did, I wouldn't be asking you. But anyway, it is what it is at this point. The pain and the hurt have subsided. I focus on my developing myself, moving on with my life, and renovating my house. So that's where I am, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I hope, that I can be of inspiration to you, a man or woman or whoever is going through whatever you're going through. Know that it's not the end of the world. Divorce is never the end of the world. And it's not a reflection of you. Yes, is when you get into a relationship, you decided to be with that person. So, and this is the person that I choose. So, what is it about me that attracted me to that person is what I have to look at. So now I got to work on me. It's not about him. It's about me. I got to see what is it about me that attracted me to him. And those are the things that I got to heal within myself in order for me to attract the right person. So I got to go through the healing process, in order for me to evolve and be able to attract what I believe, or the type of person that I believe I want to be with. So anyway, I don't like to make these videos long, but I know this one has been very long. So you see, what I'm doing here with the tiles. I probably should be wiping off the excess, but it's dried on. But I'm going to put grout on it and wipe off and clean off the grout, and then I'm going to seal it with another sealant because it's water to waterproof it some more. This red thing is the waterproofing membrane, is the what you call the HardieBacker board with the waterproofing for shower. So that's why it's red. This side here was gray. You can't see it now because I had flipped it over by accident. Initially I put it on wrong, but I put this green, there's a green waterproofing membrane that I put on it to kind of seal it. But when I'm done with the tile, I'm also going to put another waterproofing membrane on top of it to further seal it. So this is it. So when you're putting on the tiles, you have to put in the spacers. This one is a little big, and the space is bigger than I wanted, but it's fine. You know, I can deal with it. I like, you know, fines. I don't like the space to be that big, but it helps to keep it also uniform. So that's what I like about it. So until the next video, I'm going to turn off the video now. Until the next video, I'm going to continue working on this. And be blessed. And again, like I always say, let me take this off the tripod. Okay. So like I always say, I just woke up probably about an hour. I would say about an hour ago, got out of bed or whatever. It's probably about 9 o'clock in the morning now. Excuse me. So that's why I look like this. I don't have time to get glamorous or whatever because I've been working. Once I'm done with this, and all of my clothes really are in bags and packed away, or not bags, but in packed away in my suitcase, in crates, or whatever the case may be. So I just, the minimum, bare minimum, I've kept this thing here is it's oversized, but it keeps me warm. It's very warm, and this jacket keeps me warm. So I try to stay warm, stay healthy, and continue to just work until I can get it done. But anyway, be blessed and turn your lemon into lemonade. Know that whatever you put your mind to, you can accomplish. Don't let people tell you that you're less than who you are. You're stronger than what you think. Marriage is not the end of the world. I love being married. I liked my husband. Believe it or not, you know, I liked him, and I didn't like the things that he was doing, a lot of the stuff that he did, but I liked him as a person. I had hoped that it will work, but unfortunately it won't. And I'm not just that person to just settle. Yes, he was the one who finally filed for a divorce, but we lived together for almost 2 years without either one of us filing for a divorce. But eventually, I guess he wanted to move on with his life and get somebody else, so he decided to go ahead and file for the divorce, and he did, and this is where we find ourselves. But it is now February. It was in October, and it's now February, and things are coming together, and I'm hoping to have this whole house renovated by the end of summer. So, but I'll keep following my journey, and keep strong, keep believing in yourself, and you'll see the progress as we go along. I'll keep doing these videos. So have a blessed day. Turn your lemon into lemonade. Know that you can do whatever it is that you put your mind to. So have a blessed and wonderful day until the next video. Thank you for watching.